Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. This is a podcast where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about no more forcing yourself. It's very liberating when you realize you've been forcing yourself. And I'm going to talk to you about what that is and how sometimes it's called discipline, willpower, obligation, guilt. And all it is an exercise in futility. And there is no need to force yourself. So we're going to be talking about that. And I hope you'll listen to what I have to say about no more forcing yourself. For a very long time, I lived with this feeling that I had to force myself to do certain things, not realizing I was responsible for it. And when you force yourself to do something for so long, essentially what you do is you deaden the spirit. There's no more whimsy. There's no more spontaneity. There's no more inspiration, because those things come at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know? So a lot of this is too much of something. Too much structure. And we see this phenomenon in, I noticed it in myself, for holidays, Thanksgiving would come around and we were supposed to be thankful. But what if you don't feel thankful on Thanksgiving? Well, what happens is you end up spending time with people you're supposed to like, and you don't. You're stuck with family members, and because they're family, they're not necessarily people you would associate with whimsically or spontaneously. Maybe some people do. And you're supposed to go around the table and offer thanks. But what if you don't feel like it? Okay, Ryan, it's your turn, and you think, oh, God, what am I thankful for? Oh, you use cliches like, thank you, God, for the food that was prepared and things like that. Nothing seems sincere. Because often sincerity is just whimsical. The same is true of Christmas. We're supposed to be good cheer. We're supposed to give gifts. Well, December 25th is here. I'm supposed to be in a giving spirit. And the spirit can't be scheduled. That's the thing. That's what I noticed about the effervescent nature. And I realized that nature has very structured schedules. We have our 4 seasons. We have a predictable pattern of the earth moving around the sun, 24 hours in a day. But there's so much more about nature that seems unstructured to me, whimsical and spontaneous. Like you just can't force it. You can't force open a flower or force a rose bush to blossom for you. But within the structure, there's a lot of wiggle room for spontaneity. And I think that's what we forget. We think that everything has to be scheduled, even gift giving. Even the expression to loved ones. Like Valentine's Day is a holiday which comes around in a time of year that I'm not sure you can schedule giving chocolates that come in a red box and go on a date. You don't really feel like it. You see? Just forcing yourself. And if your life is all like that, what you'll notice is a dimming of the spirit. And if you've ever tried to force somebody to do something, they give in, and the body language, I'm gonna personify the body language of a deadened spirit. If you force somebody to do something, a child especially, or anybody, they're like, okay. The shoulders collapse. It is an absolute deadening. Womp womp. And we don't realize that we do that to ourselves. We don't realize how we force ourselves to the gym. We force ourselves to eat healthy. We force ourselves to give when something is given to us. We force ourselves to reply to texts because we get a ding on the phone. That's the conditioned response. When maybe you don't want to text. Maybe you don't want to scroll. Maybe you don't want an algorithm to educate you. Maybe you want to pay attention to what you're curious about. See, the whimsy of the spirit will tell you what to investigate and when. Maybe at 2:05 on a Wednesday afternoon, you want to walk in the park. Oh, it'd be so nice to go walk in the park. Stuck in the office. So if you have a job like that, where everything seems like you got to force yourself to get to work, force yourself to go to the meeting, force yourself to smile, and you inside you don't feel like it. You have to pay attention to that. Because you're forced yourself into labor. And if you force yourself into labor, something is born prematurely. Anger, rushing around. But if you look at the way humans are born, or any animal is born, they're born at any time. Birth is this spontaneous thing. It happens. And death is also the same thing. It's never convenient or when you want it or not. Sometimes, I guess you want it if you want to euthanize yourself because you're in such pain. But for the most part, the spontaneous nature is whimsical. And I realized I wasn't giving myself what I wanted. I was forcing myself. And spiritual awakening is very much like recovering from an addiction. You just say enough is enough. I can't force myself anymore because I don't have a spirit. I'm dead. I'm dead inside. I'm going to act it out again. Okay, I guess I'll go make my YouTube video. These things come to me at different times of the day, and some days they don't come to me. So I don't force myself to make videos because, and I never say, oh, new videos on Tuesday at 12 p.m. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, what if you don't feel like it? A lot of times my spirit is unscheduled. One of the first things you'll do when you liberate yourself from the concentration camp, from the forcing of yourself to do labor that you feel you have to. This is brought on by so much, but it's brought on by this feeling of obligation, or that there's that voice in your head where I have to go make some money. Ugh. Everybody wants money, but then they work for money, and it's just, ugh. So who are you working for? Who is your life for? That's the question that I had to come to. Who is this for, if not for me? If I didn't love myself, why am I forcing myself? Love allows. Love is something that allows you to do what you want for one reason only, and that is to enjoy it. So you deprive yourself of what you enjoy. I don't know why we do this. When you deprive yourself of doing what you want to enjoy, you force yourself. And the more you force yourself and deny yourself and say, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't, the spirit just goes, boop, it flatlines. And so you have people walking around in a general malaise because they'd rather be doing something else. Because they are serving some phantom dictator called money, paycheck, obligation. I'm supposed to. Society expects me to. You have to break free from those addictive thoughts. If society makes you do something, if the voice in your head makes you do something, if a paycheck makes you do something, I call that secondhand source. That's not the true nature. The true nature is deeper, and it speaks to you in one way. Desire. That's all. Deny yourself enough. Don't allow yourself to have what you want. And I'm not talking about material possessions. I'm talking about verbs, actions, doing stuff, giving yourself a chance to do what you want, which is usually going to be related to some kind of action. Maybe resting. Resting is a verb. Maybe you just want to rest. Most likely, when enough is enough, when you start recovering from these addictive and compulsive ways, the first thing you're going to want to do is rest. Without guilt. You rest without guilt. That's what you want, and you will want that as long as it takes to recover. And then you might want to play. You might want to be alone. You might want to not earn any money, not do anything. Give yourself that gift. Unless the paycheck is an enslaving dictator. Unless conventional wisdom says, well, we have to pay the bills. And if you're working to pay the bills, if your life is about paying the bills, which a lot of people it is, that is a terrible, enslaving way to live. That's not to say that if you don't give yourself if you do give yourself what you want, that doesn't equate to some kind of earning of an income either. Because it does. You can earn an income giving yourself what you want. That's a beautiful thing. But we just haven't learned to enjoy our lives. That seems like a luxury. So you postpone it. If you are stuck in this mentality, when I, then I, you are forcing yourself. When I get the money, then I'll rest. When I get the husband, then I'll be happy. When I finish work, then I'll play. You see, it's an equation of postponement, which is a denial of self. And I live this way. Boy, when I retire, I'm really going to rest. I'm really going to enjoy spending my money. I'm really going to leisure. I postponed it for 50 years. And this is about giving yourself some small version of what you want now. To not be forced by what society expects. That's you. Your society. Well, if somebody texts me, I'm supposed to respond. Who says? What if you don't want to? And if you start examining that stuff, just because you get a text message, you have to respond? Who says? You do. You get to decide what's obligatory. And for me, life demands of us that we enjoy it. That's the only demanding nature. Anything else is forcing yourself. And the more you force yourself, the less alive you're going to feel. Until being dead, you say, enough is enough. I'm to live. Well, life in its best form is whimsical. 2 a.m. Maybe you want to have Christmas on June 17th at 3:42 p.m. Go buy a present for someone. Merry Christmas. Maybe you want to make Mother's Day today. I love you, Mom. Maybe you want Valentine's Day to be at 4 a.m. Go buy some chocolates at the 7-Eleven. They're open 24/7. If you start listening to the whimsical nature, it's going to start leading you to fun. Joy, effervescence, spontaneity, impromptu. And let me tell you something. The spontaneous spirit will never lead you to a paycheck or to an enslaving decision. What you want, if you start catching on and giving it to yourself over and over and over again, will lead you to your wildest imagination, which is pretty much unscheduled. Living dangerously. Isn't that a naive way to live? Of course it is. It's the only way to live. It's the only way to really enjoy life. It's to not be frightened by what you don't know. And scheduling is a way, putting everything in a schedule is a way of scheduling the spirit. And the spirit moves whimsically. Joy moves whimsically. Off the grid, off the charts. Against conventional thinking and structure. And there you'll find it. A joy right in the middle of it all. Waiting for you to say yes to your own desires. You know you're forcing yourself when you get up and go and oh. Even forcing yourself to do so-called good things won't work. Gotta go to the gym. Ugh. Eventually, if you give yourself the rest that you need, if you give yourself the play that you need, you might discover that the kind of exercise that you want is simply walking or jogging or heavy weightlifting. I don't know. We don't know. If you just go to the gym, you haven't paid attention to the kind of exercise that your spirit wants. You see. So we can stop forcing ourselves when we've had enough of being in a concentration labor camp. And this liberation will never lead you to chase a paycheck, a person, a thing, or anything. It'll allow you to give yourself what you want right now. And it'll be related to play, love, fun, and joy. My name is Ryan Hebert. I hope you enjoyed my insights. And thank you for listening. I hope you'll check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com.